What's the average penis size, and what's really considered normal? This is one of those questions that sparks endless curiosity, fuels countless online discussions, and even shows up often in doctors' offices. With the rise of interest in male aesthetics and sexual health, it's become an even hotter topic. In today's video, we are going to break this down clearly: what is considered average, what falls outside of the normal range, and why so many men worry unnecessarily about their size. Stick around until the end, because I'll also share some fascinating historical and cultural facts that might completely change the way you look at this subject. Let's start with some reassurance. The vast majority of men who feel concerned about their size, we are talking about those who even consider consulting a professional, are in fact perfectly average. Studies consistently show that around 95% of men are within the normal range. That means only a very small minority are truly outside of what's medically defined as normal. So, where does the problem come from? More often than not, it's about perception rather than reality. Many men compare themselves to what they see in adult films, in heavily edited images, or even in locker room situations where appearances can be misleading. These unrealistic comparisons create insecurity, and sometimes even anxiety, despite being completely unfounded. Here's something even more interesting. Surveys reveal that 55% of men worry about their penis size, but only about 51% of women say it matters at all in a relationship. And even among those women, size is usually far less important than qualities like confidence, affection, intimacy, and emotional connection. In other words, most women don't put nearly as much emphasis on size as men believe. Yet, men often put enormous pressure on themselves, sometimes to the point of harming their confidence and sexual performance. So let's get to the numbers. Scientific studies use two main ways to measure: erect length and flaccid stretched length. A massive meta-analysis involving around 15,000 men worldwide found that between 90 and 95% of them had a penis length between 10 and 16 centimeters. The average erect length was about 13.2 centimeters. As for girth, the average flaccid stretched circumference was around 9.5 centimeters, with most men falling between 8 and 10.5. These results were consistent across various regions, but there are some variations depending on genetics, ethnicity, and geographic background. At the extremes, we have what is medically called micropenis, defined as less than 7.5 centimeters, usually linked to medical or hormonal conditions, and macropenis, greater than 24 centimeters, which is extremely rare worldwide. Even men who are completely within the normal range often feel unhappy with their size. This has a lot to do with modern culture, where social media, pornography, and the aesthetic industry create exaggerated expectations. Psychologists point out that dissatisfaction with body image can lead to anxiety, lower self-esteem, and even avoidance of relationships. But again, this dissatisfaction is almost always psychological, not physical. Now let's talk about enlargement. This is where myths and misinformation are everywhere. The safest current method for thickening uses hyaluronic acid fillers, which are biocompatible and naturally absorbed by the body over time. These can increase girth by 2 to 3 centimeters, but results vary and depend heavily on the surgeon's skill. Unsafe methods such as industrial silicone, PMMA, or black market substances are dangerous and can cause permanent damage, infections, or deformities. For lengthening, options are much more limited. Liposuction of the pubic fat pad can make the penis appear longer by removing fat around the base. Cutting the suspensory ligament can add up to 2 centimeters, but it comes with a trade-off, as erections may become less stable. Penile implants, whether inflatable or semi-rigid, are excellent for men with severe erectile dysfunction, but they are not designed to increase size and should not be seen as a cosmetic solution. And here's something important. There are no scientifically proven, permanent, and completely safe surgical methods to significantly increase penis length. Any clinic promising dramatic results should be approached with extreme caution. Here's a fascinating twist. Across history, perceptions of size have changed dramatically. In ancient Greece, smaller penises were actually admired. Statues often showed men with modest-sized genitals, which were considered a sign of intelligence, rationality, and self-control. Larger ones were associated with impulsiveness or lack of discipline. The Greek god Priapus, known as the god of fertility, was portrayed with an oversized penis. But instead of being admired, it was seen as grotesque and ridiculous, though he later became a symbol of abundance and fertility. This shows us that cultural standards aren't fixed. What's considered ideal today may be viewed completely differently in another time or place. At the end of the day, penis size gets far more attention than it truly deserves. In modern society, where appearance and aesthetics are often exaggerated, it's easy to forget that self-esteem, intimacy, and happiness depend much more on emotional connection and confidence than on centimeters. So if you're someone who has worried about this before, remember, you are probably completely within the normal range. And what really matters in relationships isn't size, it's how you connect, communicate, and show affection. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone who might need to hear this. And if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our weekly health videos. See you in the next one.